All praises. Darash, this is round two. Let's go.
God, all praise to the Most High. And notice, and this is where you have to understand when people are deflecting, right? We talking about Ruth, the Moabitess. This nigga went to one verse in Ruth chapter 2 and verse 6. That's all that he brought out. That's number one. I'm going to stay in Ruth and I'm going to keep hammering this shit. I'm going to keep hammering this shit in, right? Now, number two, I never said that the word country wasn't in numbers. I never said that. I said when you read the country of Moab, it's not the same as the land of Moab. I mean, the plains of Moab, excuse me. Now, watch this. He said Moabite Tish is not the same as Moabite Tish, right? There's two things I'm going to deal with that because he said every time we talk about that, the ISH that refers to being like something, but except when it appears with Ruth, right? Okay, watch this. I want to read Genesis chapter 46, and I'm going to read verse 8. And these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt, Jacob and his sons, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. The sons of Reuben, Hanok and Phalu and Hezron and Carmi. The sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad and Jachin and Zahor and Shaul, the son of a Canaanitish woman. But we know that's talking about a Canaanite. We know that's talking about a heathen, right? So just because it says ish all the time, we have to contextualize things, right? So then he goes on to say the word is Moabia. Okay, perfect, right? So when we read Genesis, Salakia, when we read Ruth, chapter, where is that? Women of Moab. I think it's Ruth chapter 1 and verse 6. The book of Ruth, chapter 1 and verse, I believe it's verse 6. It says, let me see. The country of Moab, Salakia. Pull it up like this. Ruth chapter 1 and verse 4, I'm sorry. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of one was Orpah, the name of the other was Ruth, and they dwelled there about 10 years. So his point is when you see that word women of Moab, not a direct descendant of Moab, they use the word known as Moabia or more Moabi or Moabi, right? And that is, where are you? Here it is. Moabi H4125. Let me go ahead and put that in my PTR so y'all can go ahead and see it. This is the word right here, H4125. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. Here's the definition. It says a Moabite or Moabitess, a descendant from Moab, a woman of Moab, a Moabite, Moabite-ish, or Moabitess. Now, his point is it doesn't say daughter of Moab. This word right here, Moabia, is referencing an inhabitant of Moab. Here's the problem with that. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 11. 1 Kings chapter 11. And I'm going to read verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughters of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites. Damn, ain't that what it said in Ruth? Women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. Now, if you go and you look up that same Hebrew word, you're going to see the same thing. H4125, Moabia. Again, I'm going to read the definition. A Moabite or Moabitess, i.e. the descendant from Moab. A woman of Moab, Moabitish, Moabitess. So now the question is this. If this is women of Moab, but it's not really a Moabite, maybe it's like Ruth from the tribe of Reuben, but laying in the plains of Moab. Why are they strange women? Why are they strange women? Please tell me why they're strange women. Brother's just talking about body bag. He might as well stick himself in that damn body bag and zip it up, roll himself down the hill. He done lost his damn mind. Now, let's go back to Ruth, because that's what we're talking about, Ruth. So if we're talking about Ruth, we should be reading the book of Ruth. Ruth chapter 1, and I'm going to read verse 16. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go. Where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people,
5 minutes
and,
left.
and thy God, my God. Again, they're all different tribes, but they all one people. It's all one nation. Why is she saying, no, your people are going to be my people? They are the same people. I guarantee you, Brother Chaataza will say this himself. Tazariak, though I say he's from Judah, that's still my brother. That's my people. I can guarantee you that he does that because we are all one nation. We are all one people. So now the question is, what is Ruth saying here? Now, let's jump up to, what is that, verse 8? No. Let me find it. Salakia, let me find it. Verse 10. And they said unto her, surely we will return with thee unto thy people. Salakia, where is it? It might have been verse. And Ruth said, entreat me, yada, yada, yada. Oh, I'm sorry, verse 15. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. So I'm going to keep beating this dead horse. Go back with your sister, return to your people and those gods over there. So one of two things is going on. Either she's saying return to her and her judges, which would it make sense? Because I showed you in the book of Judges, each judge judged all of Israel. I showed you that. Now, or she's saying go back over there and commit idolatry in the land of Reuben with your sister and go back to your gods. She said, no, I don't want to go back to my gods. I want to go to with you and your God. So one of two things is happening. Either she was telling a Moabite to go back to her people and her God, or she was telling a Reubenite to go back to her judges. But again, that would not coincide with the rest of the book of Judges. So again, I'm just going to hang out in the book of Ruth. Then we talked about how she was purchased as property. In Ruth, I'll read it again. Ruth chapter 4 and verse 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off among his brethren, and from the gate of his place ye are witness to this day. Then the brother says something along the lines of, "There's no way that there are heathens in the line of Christ, so on and so forth." Okay, that's fine. Now I want to go and read the book of Matthew, chapter 1, and I want to read I think it's verse 5. Matthew chapter 1 and verse 5. And Simon begat Boaz of Rechab, and Boaz begat Obed of Ruth, and Obed begat Jesse. Now the question is, well, who is Rechab? Simple question. Who is Rechab? Then the second thing is, again, we just dancing in the book of Ruth over and over and over. And he's going to have to come over here and explain these things in the book of Ruth. Thy people, my people. Thy God, my God. Since I got a couple of minutes, watch this. This is what I want to pull out. Ruth chapter 4. Salakia. Let me hurry up and grab this. I know I ain't got much time. Ruth chapter 4 and verse 13. Watch this. Verse 13. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went in unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. And the women said unto Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, which have not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel. And he shall be unto thee a restorer of life and a nourisher of thine own age. For thy
1 minute left.
daughter-in-law, Salakia, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, hath borne him. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. And the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Here's the problem. If Ruth is an Israelite, she can raise this child up herself. If Ruth is an Israelite, a child would have been born to Ruth because it was her husband that was dead. It was her who lay with the nearest of kin to raise up seed to her husband. She could have easily nursed that child. Why was the child born unto Naomi? Why was the child taken by Naomi from Ruth, and why did she raise that child up? Well, we did have an incident in the book of Nehemiah. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. I'm going to paraphrase it. I'm going to try to get to it. Time. All good.
Okay, that's the end of your round 2. The end of your round 2. Flash the mic when you got the time, Halab. All praises. Chaataza, I know you also work on the tube first. I don't know if you want to get that ready. You don't even got to unmute.
I don't even need a PowerPoint from this point on. That was, terrible. Let me know when you're ready.
Well, your time starts when you speak.
All right, let's go. So I just want to show y'all, he did not address anything that I said concerning the geographical location that this story takes place. And in context to what I said, Moabitish means, it would mean an inhabitant of the land. If this land was always called the land of Moab, if this was the plains of Moab, and if Mount Nebo was a Moabite town like I showed, then what would Ruth be called? She would be an inhabitant of, just like Elijah was a Tishbite. Like you see that we always called each other from the land. So you didn't prove anything. That's the problem. You didn't even rebuttal anything that I said. That was a terrible round, bro. And now if we move on, here's the beauty of it, right? Notice that his main point, right, all has to do with thy people, thy people. And he keeps going to the story of Judges. Why? Because in Ruth 1:1, it says that this took place. Let's see right here. I'm just going to take my time with this round. Ruth 1:1. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab. We showed that that's in the land of Reuben. He, his wife, and his 2 sons. So he keeps going to Judges, but let me show you what he missed in Judges. Remember what he kept saying? God's people, thy people, aren't they the same people? Well, maybe they would be if Israel was a united monarchy. Israel did not become a united monarchy until Saul. The kingdom split and Saul and David's people went to war with each other. David had to fight a civil war to unite Israel. And then there was a time of peace under Solomon's rule because he made his enemies his footstool. Let me show you what it was really like in Israel, because y'all believe everything is kumbaya, my Lord, when you don't understand that there were civil wars that were fought inside the land of Israel. This is Judges 12:1. And the men of Ephraim, that's Israelites, right, gathered themselves together and went northward and said unto Jephthah, a judge of Israel, wherefore passedst thou over us to fight against the children of Ammon, and didst call against us to go with thee? We will burn thine house upon thee with fire. And Jephthah said unto them, I and my people. Whoa, what are we talking about here? I and my people. What, Ephraimites aren't Jephthah's people? I thought you said the judges ruled over all Israel at that time. And Jephthah said unto them, them is who? Them is Ephraimites. I and my people were at a great strife with the children of Ammon. And when I called you, ye delivered me not out of their hands. Why did he put a separation if they were supposed to be brothers, Darash? Why don't you answer that question? Because that's how we talk. Because there's something called tribalism. Because there's something called an inheritance where the majority of the tribes lived inside their own areas and inside their own zones. So as a result, they went to war with each other. And when I saw that ye delivered me not, I put my life in mine hands, not my brother's hands, and passed over against the children of Ammon. And the Lord delivered them into my hand. Wherefore ye come up against me on this day to fight against me? And Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. And the men of Gilead smote Ephraim because they said, ye Gileadites. Why aren't they calling them Manassites? Why aren't they called? Look, who lived in Gilead? Wasn't it the tribe of Manasseh and Gad? Didn't they live up there? Didn't we see that on the map? Why isn't it calling them by Israelites? Because we call each other by the land we live in. Are fugitives of Ephraim among the Ephraimites and among the Manassites. Now it's mentioning the Manassites. And they had a civil war against each other because we were not united during the time of Judges. When you go and you read the scriptures, you find out that there were judges inside of every gate of Israel. And those judges were wise men out of the people of Israel, and they would judge their own. So now I'll give you an example too, because even when he wanted to turn around and say these gods and those gods and this and that, you don't know what you're talking about. This is Exodus 22 and 28. When it says, thou shalt not revile the gods, I thought we we're supposed to destroy fake idols. What could that word gods mean? Nor curse the ruler of thy people, meaning the judges were called Allahayim, which some people pronounce as Elohim. These are the rulers who were inside the gate. So that's a lifetime. So when you see her say, your God shall be my God, first of all, Elohim or Allahayim is plural. They did the same thing in Genesis 1:1. And we all know that when it said, let us make man in our image, the reason why you see Elohim through the whole chapter is because of Colossians, the first chapter, when it says that Christ made everything. Who did he make everything with? The angels. This is what we always teach. That's why it said, let us make man in our image, because Elohim or Allahayim is plural. These gods or these judges are the judges at that time, because when did the story of Ruth take place? During the time of Judges, when Jephthah said, I and my people, and separated himself from the Ephraimites. The same way Ruth would have separated herself from Judites. The same way she would have traveled back to the land of Judah with Naomi and been a stranger in that land, because Israelites are strangers when they travel to another tribe's inheritance. So let's see what other garbage you said. I mean, I'm still not going to get off the fact that you said the country of Moab is not in Numbers, and I showed it and you said nothing. But here's the last thing. When we go into Leviticus, the 25th chapter, this just goes to show you, you don't know the Bible. You don't know the law. Because one, this is what happened inside the book of Ruth. First of all, Elimelech was poor. So he leased off his land, because Israel does not sell their land. So, for example, Leviticus 25 and 40. Matter of fact, let's go right here. 47. And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of thy stranger's family, after he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brethren may redeem him. What does it mean to redeem? It means one of his brethren would buy him. Why didn't you read that part? Well, like matter of fact, let's go up a little further. Verse 39. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee. Who's being sold? Thy brother. So when you turn around, you don't even know what's going on with the transaction. When we drop down even further in Leviticus 25, it says, if thy brother be waxen poor and hath sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. Well, here's what happened. Elimelech, he died. Women cannot inherit land. So what happens is it goes to the sons. The son die. There's no inheritance now. Naomi goes back with Ruth. They go to the nearest of kinmen to her husband, which is Boaz. Boaz was not the nearest of kin. He was the second nearest of kin. But because he decided to marry this woman and raise an heir, he had to purchase the land from his fallen brother Elimelech, who sold the land, for it to be redeemed. So in order for that marriage to be verified, these people who sold their inheritance had to be redeemed by their brother. I thought you said Israelites couldn't sell themselves. He wasn't buying her like a slave. He was redeeming them from the debt that her father-in-law caused, so that this way the child they have could be raised up inside that inheritance, because that's what happened in Israel. Israel never even owned the land of Israel. The Lord owned the land of Israel. Let's go up 2 verses. Verse 20.